Oh, what are you doing over there?
That was Hitch.
Oh no. Live streaming isn't available right now. Try again. What? All right. That was nerve-wracking. Let's put this away for now.
Hello.
Hello. All right, let's make sure this camera is fixed. Chris, you in the shot there?
Yeah.
We got it. Okay, we got it.
I feel like I want to
We're
move.
good.
All I can see is
Okay, we're good.
Can we move that?
Move what?
This
you wanna move?
little tower.
Oh, you want to move the little tower? Sorry, we've got a game of hold on. Hold on.
you got a cutter here.
Oh, it's cut. It's cut. We've got a game of heroes also loaded up on the other half of this table. Chris, you wanna move that? There you go. There you go. There, we're good.
Welcome.
Our gaming table right now is loaded. We got we rolled up half of our Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea to one side of the table so we could play Marvel Champions until the time came to meet you.
If you've ever seen Land, Air, and Sea, it is huge.
All right, but we're not here to talk about Land, Air, and Sea.
No.
What are we here to talk about?
Marvel Champions, the card game. And you know what? Before we get started, welcome to Board Game Coffee.
We're so excited to spend time with you tonight.
And let's introduce everybody. Let's go around the table. I am Mark Maya. This.
I'm Brittany Maya.
Chris Medeiros.
Sorry. You can't get off. You don't match. You gotta go. We gotta adopt Chris so his name matches up. And for those of you who are new to the channel, Chris is Brittany's cousin.
So she was a Medeiros at one point.
But
You can
she's upgraded. Brittany can't say anything. My family might be watching. All right.
Yeah. What about our family? They can be watching. Could happen.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, so try to make some room. So we are here to do. This is our first that we're actually announcing. This is our first review. Like we've talked about, like our first impressions. We've done comparison videos, but this is our first review. Like we actually played this a few times, and we came with the knowledge that we were going to review this. I have to take my phone off. Hold on. 1 second. Just getting my notes ready. So.
And just to remember, before we start, I'm going to be online with all of you, and if you have any questions, I'm right. Sorry. If you have any questions, then let me know, and when I have the opportunity, I'll bring the questions up during the conversation.
Yes, so please join in. All right, so here we go. First of all, we like to start with the gist. Now, I'm going to try to boil this down to the simplest form. All right, in Marvel Champions, it's a card game. Is Marvel Champions the card game? There are 5 heroes to choose from. She-Hulk, Black Panther, Spider-Man, Iron Man, and Captain Marvel. I think that's it. That's it. There's 5. There's 5 to choose from. Now, it's not a deck building game because it's a living card game that works kind of like Arkham Horror card game, if you guys are familiar with it. I've never actually played it, but I've heard a lot about it, and it sounds very similar, where you make your deck before you start the game. So very Netrunner-y type of. You guys have never played Netrunner. I played a lot of Netrunner. Oh yeah, you did play Netrunner. You haven't?
No.
Oh, I thought you said you have. I thought I played with you.
I haven't.
Oh, well, anyways. So this game, you go in with a deck, and everybody has their own deck. There is an option to follow there are pre-made starter decks in the back of the manual that you can follow, so you don't have to spend time and build a deck. If you don't want to, you can just follow the list and just leave them constructed that way if you want, and then later if you want to mix them up, you can do that too. But anyways, once you have your deck of 40 to 50 cards, everybody has them. This is a co-op game to begin with, so this is a co-op game, and the goal is us 3 heroes. I was playing She-Hulk, Brittany was playing Spider-Man, Chris was Captain Marvel. And basically you have a hand of cards. The amount of cards you have and the health you have depends on which hero you're controlling. And it says in the bottom of your hero card. Each hero has their alter ego. Like, actually, she's not a good example because she's green on both sides. But you got like Peter Parker and Spider-Man. So they've all got their alter egos, and depending on the sides, there's different abilities, and depending on if you're your alter ego or the hero, the villain that you're trying to fight, in this case Rhino, reacts to you differently. If you're just your alter ego, then he'll pull off his scheme. If you're the superhero, then he attacks. Now let's get through overall how this game works here. The heroes have to defeat the villains. In this case, Rhino. Rhino is trying to pull a scheme. And in this case, it's called the break-in. So, and there's a little story, like he's trying to, let me see. Rhino is trying to smash through the facility wall and steal a shipment of vibranium. You must stop him. So now, there is, if you notice, I don't know if you can see the table. Can you? Yeah, you can. There's a bunch of these tokens that you put on the scheme. Now, when this scheme gets enough tokens, you lose. In this case, this scheme has to have 21 tokens on it, and we hit 21 exactly. So we lost. We just lost. We lost about 9 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So
it's still too soon. The
yeah.
wounds are sore. They're open.
So it's cool that they're trying to pull the scheme, and we're trying to thwart their schemes. And there's cards. There's the thwart ability, which allows us to take counters off. So we have to try to defeat the Rhino before he completes a scheme. So while he's trying to put counters on his scheme, we're trying to put damage counters on his, or not damage counters, we're trying to take his life down, his life total down. And villains, in this case of the Rhino, it has 2 levels, level 1s and 2. And this is the beginning tutorial. So this is supposed to be the easiest. Now let me give you a little tip before we go any further. We have yet to win.
Yes.
We've done well and then just got hammered.
Mm-hmm.
So it's difficult.
I feel like it goes bad.
We'll cover it. We'll get to when we get to difficulty. We'll cover that. So basically, you're fighting the main minion. Oh, sorry, the main villain. The villain also has minions, and the minions come out, and they have their own side. Some of them have their own side schemes, because like each hero also brings to the table with them their own like nemesis, which is like in Spider-Man's case, the Vulture. I can't remember who is in She-Hulk's case. It's it's what's her name? What's her name? Titania? I can't remember. Yeah, Titania. I got that right. And everybody's got their own, so they kind of get mixed into the deck eventually when you get a card that tells you to put it in there. But villains are trying to deal damage to you and knock us out. We're trying to deal damage to them before they pull off their schemes. And what's cool is they have these the mini schemes, or the small schemes, or whatever you call them, the side schemes. That's it. These are schemes other than the main. Any scheme other than the main one is a side scheme. Now, those schemes, they don't win the game for the villain, but they do help his main scheme. So they do assist. They're like enhancements almost to his main scheme, and which are bad for us. And so far, that's been our bane. The last game we were doing really well, and then a bunch of side schemes came up in a row, just poorly timed. They came out when we had no cards to deal with them, and then we got screwed. And that's how we lost. So we lost the last one. So, and if you guys have played deck builders before, like I said, there's no deck building. You're not buying cards for your deck. You already come in with your deck built. But one cool thing, which I like that's different about this game, is that you don't get rid of your hand at the end of each turn. You get rid of as many cards as you want and then draw up to your maximum hand size, which is cool. I like that because it feels like there's a little more customization to it. I think other than that, I think that's a good gist of how this game works. We all have our decks. We're all working together to beat the villain before he gets a scheme done. Right? That's good. I think I covered the basics.
Well, having your own super villains that sneak in and cause trouble.
Yeah, and everybody again. There's a bunch of little
nemesis.
Yeah, nemesis and nemesis, and there's also what are those called? Obligations. There's also obligations, which is like we'll talk to that when we get to like the gameplay section. So I think we're good. Are we good for questions right now?
Yep, I think we're good.
All right, now we're gonna break into. One thing I want to tell you about this game is when you do get Marvel Champions, since it is a living card game, everything you need to play is in this box. So you get this and you're good. You got 5 heroes and they're good to play. One little detail is you can't actually play Iron Man and She-Hulk at the same time with the cards that you get in one box because they share cards. So you can play with Iron Man or She-Hulk, you can't play with them both. You can't play with their starter deck. So technically you could, but you couldn't use the starter deck build. So you could still play with both of them on the same team. Like I said, there is the option to customize. Me and Chris have played some customized games where we customize our decks. Britt has not. Every time we've played with Britt, we've just built the starter.
Actually, when we did that customization, you had Iron Man and I had She-Hulk.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I think I did that just because the book said I couldn't.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll show you.
Yeah.
And then it showed us right back.
They were right.
Like hard.
We did well, though.
I think we did okay.
And then
We did okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's break it down. That was a good full review. We want to go into this, guys. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Now the components. What do you think of the components? Now the components in this game are cards and little wooden bits. Oh, and there's these counters. The heroes have got the little tiny ones, and the villains got these giant ones.
always enjoy the counters. Helps keep track.
Mm-hmm.
Cards, beautiful art. Again,
I think
amazing
it's
art.
good quality considering it's just a card game. Like I like these counters.
Just a card game, Britt.
Oh.
Just a card game.
Well, I'm meaning
She's
like
a Maya now. She's
I'm hurt.
no, but like it's a good thick cardboard for the counter, and usually card games are just cards. That's where I'm going with that. Thank you for pointing it out.
Well, for me, as far as the components go, I noticed that in this round that they went with artwork from. It looks like most of it is artwork from existing comics. I don't think this is all original artwork because I'm pretty sure I recognize. Yeah, because I recognize some of this artwork. I don't recognize it all, so I'm just going to assume. I'm going to make assumptions here that because I recognize some of it from comic books, that it's all pulled from comic books. It's kind of like how DC does with their stuff, which is not how Marvel Legendary does with theirs because theirs are all unique artwork, but it's not the best. This artwork is great.
yeah.
And thing is how different it is. That's why it makes me think that it's not, it's all pulled from the comics. Like I said, I do recognize some, but the artwork is great on these cards. I much prefer this method of just pulling existing artwork because there's tons of great artwork in the Marvel Universe and comics. Just use that. I don't mind seeing it again. I haven't seen I haven't seen all this art because I can't read everything. There's so much good stuff. So, and you know what? It's funny. We brought up when we were playing the DC game that the cards felt thin. These cards don't feel the same thing.
No.
These feel like regular cards. They're not extra thick or anything.
No.
But the DC game did when I say DC game, I mean DC Rebirth specifically. We played that. But I don't know if I felt stronger that day or if they felt thinner. Was it just me? They felt like thinner cards, right?
Not like these. I agree. Yeah.
So these feel like
Going back to my comment of good quality cards.
Oh, yeah.
You were all my witnesses.
So I'm with Britt. These dials, because you have these little help dials, these feel great. When you first assemble these, turning them will be a little stiff, but that's okay because they're not going to slide. But right now it runs smooth. And they feel great. They're easy to assemble, and so I like them. I like these dials to keep track.
That one scares me though. When you pointed out, it goes up to 20.
Yeah,
That scared me.
there's some higher numbers. Like when he says goes up to 20, he means it goes up to 20 on one side.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that means. I guess that means would that mean 205? Like I don't know what that would mean there.
Yeah, you didn't see that, Britt.
Yeah.
We're dealing with like 45 right now, and that
See?
can go up to a possible.
There's a 20 on that side. So does that mean 205? Like, is that what that means? I don't know because we
We
haven't.
can't even get past 45.
Yes, exactly. We can't get past 45. We're getting our asses handed to us at 45.
Twitches just thinking about it.
But I think we've done good. Anyway, we're not talking about gameplay right now. We're talking about components.
Yep.
Okay, so
Hit me, Britt.
Prospero Hall mentioned that anything with a familiar IP is instantly more accessible because it is one less barrier for new players.
Yes. And when we get to the theme, I want to elaborate on that. That's a good point. So I want to jump to theme, but I can't. We got to do it in
We're
order.
not there
Do it in
yet.
order.
However, we got more here. We have questions about the box. So Troy Stanley says any insight to dividers to use with box inserts. And then there's more people that want to know what does the inside of the box look
Here's
like.
the thing. I'm going to show you the inside of the box. Now, as far as and the box art, by the way, I don't know if you can see this. You see that? It's great. It's great. You've probably seen this already. But now here's the thing. Now, before I show you, yeah, I know. I'm going to show you. Before I
Oh my gosh, the anticipation.
I wanna bring
Let's
it-
open the box.
hold on.
It's killing me.
Actually, I made a note of inserts to discuss it so it's good you asked. I'm actually not too keen on the insert. And here, let me tell you why. It's because, I'm going to empty it out. Right now, there's a bunch of baggies here. I separate everything in baggies. Now, let me tell you why I separate everything in baggies. The cards go here, right? Do they? Because if you go to put the cards, they don't fit in those gaps. These gaps are here if you have sleeves on these. So without sleeves, these don't work. Either that or there's some dividers I can buy, but those aren't in the box. So the cards will just roll around in here. And there's not enough to fill this. So right now I keep them in here and I've tossed them in baggies. And the baggie system has been working out because I just separate them because there's card classifications like leadership cards and justice cards and aggression cards. So I've been using those. Where the hell are these come from? We got them from there. Anyways, so yeah, so the insert looks very simple. It's just that, right? So I've been using this area mostly. But yeah, without the Fantasy Flight sleeves, it doesn't fit in here. Now, I do want to get the sleeves. I actually might have some from other games that I'm not playing anymore, so I might just unsleeve those and use them. And I'm hoping it's going to work, because yeah, that's what I'm guessing, because I haven't put the sleeves on these cards yet. And currently, the insert is not the greatest. So, and thing is, there is a lot of room in here. It's a lot of empty room because they're expecting you to buy expansions and build it in here, which I do like that. Yep. You know, they started doing that with the legendary stuff, and like when that game came out. And I say legendary because, you know, it's another Marvel game. Like other card games, like I like when card games do that and they give you room to expand. So I do appreciate the extra room. But if the grooves were, I guess if the walls of the grooves came in closer, then I could just put the regular cards in there and they don't have to be sleeved. That would be nice. Because although I'd like to get the sleeves, that's just an extra cost, and I'm not always ready to do that, especially when we have so many games, right?
The last thing when you're stacking the games is it fall all over the place.
And I can't, exactly. So that's why I have to baggy it. Yeah. So it's a good time, because yeah, the inserts were in it. As far as components, categories I had to first discuss, art and cards, bits and inserts. Yeah. So good insert question.
If we go back to, if we talk about cards, Jeffrey wanted to mention, and I'm going to try to say your last name, Duramusif. So he says that the art is screenshots from comics. They better be amazing, and they are. Well,
they got some. As you can see, that's a vulture one.
I love the style. I love the style of the cards. Do you want to maybe show them a couple cards?
Yeah. Actually, one of my favorite pieces is actually from, I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called Great Responsibility.
Sorry, Doramus. Thank you.
Like, I like that piece. That's from when Peter, like, revealed himself, or I'm pretty sure that's what it's from, where he took his helmet off. But yeah, let me show you some cards. Let me get close to the camera. So the artwork, well, some basic stuff, but the artwork is pretty good, because they are pulling. And I do enjoy the artwork. So it's really cool. The repeats are just on cards that are exactly the same. So there's no repeats for cards that are different. Again, like in Legendary, there's a lot of cards, like it's all Hulk cards, but they all do different things. Any card that looks the same is the same.
Yeah.
So
that makes it very easy to remember.
Yeah.
It does, yeah.
Okay.
So Pete wanted to say, I think if they don't do dividers as an add-on pack, the ones from BGG will. There are at least 4 different styles already, and I'm sure more to come.
Okay. Yeah, I have a bunch of dividers from Legendary. I wonder if I could put those in there. Because yeah, I bought a Gen 1 Legendary. It didn't come with dividers, but then you could order them, and then the new versions came with them. So a buddy of mine gave me a bunch of his because he ordered them online. He has a bunch of extras. Those might be able to fit in there. I got to try that out. I don't know. But thanks, Pete. Okay. So are we good to move on to gameplay?
Yep, we are good.
Okay, now we're moving on to gameplay. So, guys, girls, cousins.
Lend me a ear.
What do we think of, as far as gameplay goes, what do you think of the scheme system, where villains come out and they're trying to pull off their schemes, and you got to try to stop them?
It's an interesting twist. I do enjoy the schemes, but I don't at the same time, because they're super challenging. So challenging. But I like the fact it's not just attack, try to beat them. you've now got this different aspect where you got to try to get rid of these schemes and attack them. Schemes, attack. I like that. You have to thwart them.
Yeah.
Can you say that, Britt?
No, I can't say that.
Britt can't say thwart.
I can, I just don't want to.
So
I'm sorry, what's the question
the
again?
scheme system. What do you think of the scheme system? This whole like villains have to pull up schemes, and then there's side schemes that help the main
And more
scheme.
schemes on top of the schemes.
I like it, but it's hard.
Here's an example of a scheme system that we have. This is our last game. Now this.
They can't see that.
No, I'm gonna pull out.
Oh.
See me gathering it, Britt? Come on.
I thought you were pointing.
So the main scheme is break-in. He has to get 21 counters on here. And again, the game scales, right? So it's 21 counters because there's 3 of us. So if there was only 2 of us, it would be 14 counters. So he has to get counters on here, and every turn he puts on 3 counters. Rhino puts on 1 per player whenever his turn comes up. Then there's this side scheme, which is break-in, and it's got 5 scheme counters on them, and you need to whittle them down. So when you get all the scheme counters, or the threat tokens, when you get all the threat tokens off of them, then you can get rid of this. But while this scheme, the side scheme is up, you draw 1 additional encounter card. Now, encounter cards are when the villain has 2 phases. He engages everybody, as in he attacks, or pulls off his scheme, whatever it is. And then to everybody. So everybody gets 1 of these cards, and then you flip it over, and then something terrible happens. It's either a minion, or there's some sort of attack, or some sort of crippling stun, or
boost,
or a boost, like a boost for Rhino. So it's like you attach, and he gets like his horn or a shield that you have to break through. So those are cool. I like it. They're tough, but they're cool.
Oh, so tough.
Now this card, 1 is bad enough. This card says while this is around, you draw 2. Now that's not cool, right? That's not cool. No,
that hurts.
So, and then on top of that, we have the Vulture, highway robbery. While he's performing his robberies, the main scheme increases in threat levels faster, which is not cool, right? So it's
all on top of your villain.
Yeah, so like you don't want the main scheme to happen, so you're trying to stop that. You're trying to put all these fires, right? You're like, stop robbing the bank. You stop just breaking stuff and just stop. I feel, you know what it's like? It's like a 2-year-old's birthday party, and everybody's just freaking out, and you're trying to get everything under control, and by the end, as the parent, you lose. That's what it's like. There's cake everywhere.
I'm not gonna lie though, I feel like it's just like the movies where you feel like, oh, this is the part of the movie where it looks like they're gonna lose, but they're gonna win. Like I'm always optimistic, and then we get crushed and realize, oh right, this isn't the movies we actually lost.
Yeah,
it's true. So Pete mentioned
tragic comedy. That's what it is.
Good co-op is tough as nails. And I want to mention this because I'm laughing a little bit. So he says, a good co-op is tough as nails. I enjoy the challenge, and Rhino is the easiest of the 3 included in the villains.
I know!
It breaks my heart. Like,
I know Rhino's the easiest.
I read this and was like, oh.
I'm not happy about it, Pete.
And you still have expert mode, so this game.
Yeah, I know. We're playing Rhino level 1 and 2. There's a Rhino level 3.
You took our confidence and just like smashed it.
Like I think the way we're gonna beat these schemes,
everyone dies.
I think because we've been doing our decks random. I think for us to beat these schemes, we have to go in and select it. Usually, I think when I select a game, like when we play Legendary or any game, I keep going back to Legendary because the other Marvel card game that we play a lot, which we love, by the way.
We love.
Legendary is one of our all-time favorites.
Yeah.
So when we go back to that, I play that random because I like it's like, oh, it's all crazy, but we could still win. And I feel in that game, if you cherry pick your decks, you could crush the game, right? And it's too easy. In this game, that's why we've been playing. It's like random, but I think we have to start cherry picking.
We do.
We do. We have to start cherry picking. We've been going random. I was like, we can do it random. We can get our stuff together. Yeah. We can do this. We can't.
Gamers,
we can't.
Got this.
Yeah, but we can't. The truth is we can't.
The painful truth.
But I enjoy the schemes. I enjoy how they combo different. I enjoy how they make it that madcap like difficulty level, how it cranks it up. Yep. I like it. Because you want a hard co-op game.
Yeah.
It's interesting. So we were actually kicking butt in this game at the beginning. And it's almost like my confidence. I was like, oh yeah, we're going to walk away from this game. We have this. And then all of a sudden the scheme came out, and I was like,
Yeah, the first level of
boom,
the first
like,
level of Rhino
exploded. It was all bad.
was the first level of Rhino, because Rhino got to 2 levels, level 1 and 2 for the first easy level. We crushed them. We'd be like, done. Like we just whipped through them. We were whipping damage.
We got this.
And then the next Rhino came up.
You even
and,
said that we got this.
Yeah.
Anyway.
and then when the next Rhino came up, he pulled out his scheme, which had extra cards come up. And then just because he brings in Break-In and Taken. Break-In and Taken makes you draw more of these cards. And then the series of cards was just a
series of unfortunate.
It was a series of unfortunate events that just kept coming, and they were just lined up with like, you need cards that can thwart a scheme. Now I don't know about you guys, but when we were playing, I got rid of all mine in the beginning because we were doing so well. Because you can get rid of your cards to get more cards. I was like, I'm just gonna, you know what? We've got them down. I've thwarted enough.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna get rid of my thwart cards, and I'm just gonna hammer on them as She-Hulk. Yeah. And I did, and we did for a bit. Yeah. We did for a bit.
Because literally, when he went in that second level, he was only at like 3.
Yeah, and then it went like, yeah, 3, when we saying 3, not health, 3 scheming threat points. And he has to get to 21, but he got there fast. He got there so fast. Not good. Anyways, good, not good, but good. Like it's a good challenge.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jeffrey Doremus mentioned that when we finally beat it, it will be so sweet.
It will
be. Yes, it will be.
It will be sweet.
But he actually has a question as well. So he says, I think I missed something. When do you have the deck building part? And Pete actually answered the question. He says you customize your deck before the game. But I wanted to bring that up just in case people aren't reading the feed, because I think that's a really important thing.
Yeah, no, it is.
Cover.
And you think you should. Now I'm reaching out to grab something. Now, thing is about these games, it's great. If you like deck building, like old Magic the Gathering, like I'm an old Magic the Gathering type of guy. So I like going into something and building something. I also love Netrunner, where you can customize your decks. Mind you, I never made a good custom Netrunner deck. But you make your decks before you go in, and there's rules to follow. You can't have more than, I think, 3 copies of the same card, and there's certain unique cards you can only have 1 of. And unique cards have a little star on them, unlike Daredevil. Daredevil, if you notice by his name, there's a little star at the top, and that means you can only have 1 of them, which makes sense. You can only have 1 Daredevil. But now, if you don't want to custom build your decks, in the back, there's a list of starter decks for each of the characters. Now, what I was saying earlier in the video, where you can't have She-Hulk and Iron Man at the same time, you can't have their starter decks at the same time because they both use the aggression cards. And there's not enough aggression cards for 2 decks, to field 2 decks. Everybody else uses a different one. So there's aggression, protection, justice, leadership, something else, I think. 4 or 5, I don't remember how many. I think there's one, might be only 4. It's 4 player, there might be only 4. Yeah, there's only 4. There's only 4. Those 4 I mentioned. So yeah, you custom make your deck before you go in and you play. But like I said, for this game, for our last game, we just did the starter decks, and I randomly chose the characters. Mm-hmm. So that's that for that. Now, learning curve. Yeah. How did you feel this game was to learn?
On the most part, I want to say pretty easy because it's usual, read the card, play what it does. But there are some little tricks when it comes to the scheming, exhausting your players, where you actually have an action where you're not exhausting the player, but then when you do something else, you do exhaust player. So there's a little bit of tricks there I found, just a little more, not your very basic card, exhaust, use card. It was a little more,
you don't exhaust your card every time you use it.
Yes. Yeah.
Only if there's an exhaust cost to the card, you do exhaust it.
Yeah. Yeah. Whereas the other ones, it was like you use a card, you exhaust it. That's pretty much it. Whereas this one, you can use the special ability and not exhaust it. Then you could use an attack and then exhaust it or heal, which I used to do more of.
I think because we have played deck builders and have the idea of deck builders in our brain already, like the foundation, it was easier to learn, but I think this is still more complex. So there's
more complex than what?
Like a legendary.
I thought you'd say that. See, Now, I think the basic rules might be a little more complicated in Marvel Champions, like getting going.
Getting going.
But once you get going, it's same. It feels like it's the same rules overall, and the text is easy to understand. In Legendary, you have the whole thing of faction icons, like and
they build off of each other.
I've taught Legendary to a lot of people, and that's the part I have the hardest time to understand. It's like, oh, there's these little icons, but if you have these icons, they mean this. With this card, they mean this, and with this card, they mean this.
Yeah.
Where here, it's all pretty straightforward. It seems to be more to learn up front.
Yes.
But then it's that knowledge all the way through.
And you didn't let me finish where I was going with that.
That means Mark is right. Rick is wrong.
What I was going to say is the more and more we played different games of this, the first time we sat down, it was harder for me to not hard to grasp, but there was just a lot to take in at once, especially because the character flips and there's a lot of different cards, combinations, etc. But then as we played again, it's repeated actions. So it got familiar. I was familiar with the cards, what they could do, what the villain was going to do, kind of what to expect. So I felt like it was an easier flow. So at first it was a little bit, but then I got into it fast.
The thing is,
if you get back past the hump, then you're good.
Now, if we're just focusing on the learning aspect. I'm the one that read the rule book and taught these two how to play. So as a person who read the rule book, the rule book is well written, and the game comes with 2 starter player decks and a starter villain deck. So everything you need is separated from the rest of the cards. So you can just unwrap them, put them in front of you, set them up how it says. Like, there's very little setup if you look at it that way. If you just use the tutorial cards. Now, for me, I'm a person that when I read the rules, I need to understand everything. So when they're saying, "Oh, you're going to do this and this and this," I was like, "Well, but why? Why are these cards in here? What is it?" Like, I question everything. I never accept the minimum.
It's very hard to teach in a game because you will question
everything. I never like to accept the minimum amount of information. But I thought the rule book was well written. And once even though I struggled over like the odd little bit, once I started playing, I was like, I'm an idiot. Now I get it. I get it, right? Like, you'll get it. You just trust that what they wrapped up separately is good, right? Like, you can't just take it and shuffle it. There's certain cards you have to pull out and whatever, but the setup guide sets you up for a 2-player tutorial game, and you're good. I think it also shows you how to play a solo game. It says first, we've never played solo player, so you can play this solo. We haven't, so we don't know. We've only ever played this 3 and 2.
Yeah.
2 being me and Chris, and 3 of us being all of us.
And I think one of the things to mention is take the time to read your cards, especially if you're not familiar with them. Because when I first got all my cards, I didn't take the time to read them, so I was overwhelmed that I was trying to go because I didn't want to take too long. And then as I started to actually read the cards, I realized how powerful some of them were. And I had just maybe, used the card to buy a card instead of using it. So I think take the time, read it, understand the card. They're pretty straightforward, but.
Well, yeah, and that's another thing. As far as how the game works is cards have this, that's a horrible cost 0. They have this casting cost in the upper corner. Anything from 0 to, I think 0 to 4 is the most I've seen so far. Not saying there's not a 5, I just haven't seen one. So, like, for example, this one's got a 2. And the way you pay for that is every card has this little resource on the bottom corner. And some cards have 2 right there. And some of them have 3. I think Chris has one that has 3 resources.
Yes, energy, yeah.
When I say Chris, I mean Captain Marvel.
We're one and the same.
Yeah, they're the same person. Anyways, so you use those resources, so you sacrifice your cards to cast other cards, which gets tricky, right? Because you're like, this is a good card, but I want to cast this card. I gotta, like, in my head, for me, I'm like, just let it go, Mark. Just let it go. There's more cards to come, and you'll just reshuffle your deck when it's done. Just let it go. So, and then I let go of all the cards I need later, and then I'm screwed. But I just
that's my chance because I kept wanting to save my card because you had the special card and you didn't want to use it yet, and you didn't want to waste it to buy something. So I found I was holding on to it, and then I wasn't spending my cards, so I wasn't going through that deck getting those cards generated. So this time I tried something different. Wanted to use my cards fast, trying to get the game going, and still didn't work.
Yeah, so that's a key, which I think is cool because you like the idea of like you have to sacrifice cards to cast other cards is a neat concept. And once you get to that, like I went in there being like things that like things have just got to die. Cards have got to die.
Yep.
It's got to be done for the greater good.
Yes.
Do you have something you look at you something to say? No, you're good.
No, I'm reading.
All right. Okay, so let's go on to the next section.
Oh, wait, sorry.
Oh.
I have it for this section, just not to comment on what you were saying. Okay, so Timble4 asks the question of how complex is this game? Could my 12-year-old daughter play it?
Oh, perfect. Our next category is difficulty.
Okay.
So we're gonna go right into that.
Okay, hold on. Before we go into that, then I'm sorry. Prospero Hall would be interested in to see what sort of games and cards and abilities there are. Can we go over just a couple of the cards?
Okay, we'll go over then we'll go cover difficulty.
Yeah.
So a couple of different cards you got. So from your hero,
We're just doing the superheroes themselves.
yeah, just the superheroes.
Yeah.
So
just to give them an idea of range.
so there are basic cards, right? And your basic cards are your great cards, and some of them will supply you with some of them just supply you with resources. But you'll get abilities like, for example, double the number of resources this card generates while playing an aggression card. Now, aggression, you see cards with red art borders. These are aggression cards. So there are cards that make aggression cards cheaper or easier to cast. You have character cards like Nick Fury. And Nick Fury has a whole bunch of stuff you can do. It says, after Nick Fury enters play, choose one. Remove 2 threats from the scheme, draw 3 cards, or deal 4 damage to an enemy. At the end of the round, if Nick Fury is still in play, discard him. So he basically teleports in, does his miracle, and leaves. There's things like when your character does an attack, untap them. There are cool abilities. Spider-Man has an 8 damage kick, which is huge. It's huge. That's a huge amount of damage.
Yeah.
Chris had his damage where you pay energy. What's it called? Energy channel. Where you pay energy because those resources. Here's another thing about those resources in the corner. There's 4 different types. Let me go over the types. There is strength, energy, and mind, and a wild. So there's 4 different types. The wild can be whatever. Now, this card says if you spend X energy resources, put X energy counters on this card. So this is basically like a little ticking bomb because the next action of this card is a hero action, which says discard energy channel and deal 2 damage to the enemy for each energy counter on here for a max of 10. So this could be a 10-point bomb, which is huge. That's a big hit.
And I've been waiting to use it. And
yeah. So Chris was priming this and we lost. There's also heal cards that you can use to heal other people. Well, that's the thing too. It is very co-op. Like if Rhino is attacking me, Chris can defend me with his hero or with his ally. They can jump in front and take the hit so I don't die, so I don't take the damage. Because once you're dead, you're out. So other heroes can jump in and save you, which is great. That's excellent. One last example is here you have actually maybe 2 different examples. There's upgrade cards. So there's event cards, which are one-time use things. You put them out, they do their thing, and they're gone. There's upgrade cards, which was that an upgrade card or a support card? Support card. Upgrade cards, because there's 2 rows. You have your card, and below it you put your upgrade cards, and below that you put your support cards. Now your upgrade cards are they're permanent cards that stay there. Well, some of them are. Some of them will go away after you use them. But they sit under your hero. So here's an example of She-Hulk's support card. After She-Hulk attacks, discard superhuman strength, which is the name of the card. Stun the attacked enemy. So she gets +2 attack. That's the first thing it says. She-Hulk gets +2 attack. So her basic attack gets increased by 2, which is great. That would take it from a 3 to a 5. And she stuns the enemy, which is big. Mm-hmm. Because when we get stunned as heroes, it's poo. It's not good. It's really crappy. And then you get a bunch of allies. And allies, that's a basic ally. So anybody can get that. But there's allies. There's like Tigra. She's specifically for the red cards. I don't know if I think she's specifically an aggression card. But allies are heroes that are secondary heroes that go beside your hero. And they can also attack and thwart the scheme. And they can also block attacks. And they'll die. Now, allies, different thing with allies is every time you use them, in most cases, they will take 1 damage. Not all cases, but in most cases, they take 1 damage if they thwart or attack. Now, so you have your hero. You have your hero, you have your allies here. And then you have your upgrades, which we mentioned. And then there's support cards. Now, support cards, I know Peter has one, which is, I can't remember what it's called. But it's like, it's a shield one where he calls shield and, here's surveillance team. So surveillance team, you put counters on this card. You put 3 counters, and then you tap it. I say tap, exhaust it to remove a threat token from the main scheme, which is not that card, it's this card. So you could tap it, exhaust it to remove the tokens. So it's cool that you can build your character up like that. And the coolest example of upgrading cards, I think one of the coolest is Iron Man and Black Panther.
Oh, yeah.
Both of them have killer upgrades. Iron Man has all those tech upgrades, and there's our dog Hitch.
No, you can't sit up here.
He wants to sit on Brittany's lap. So, like, Iron Man has all these cool tech upgrades that increase how many cards he can hold and really boosts up his strength. And then Black Panther,
set up a roll.
Yeah, he's got, when you set up his upgrades, he's got a card that's Wakanda Forever.
Yes.
You play that and it triggers all of them like a chain of events. Da, 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 da. And then the last one does a boost event, like an extra event, which is cool. So that's the kind of stuff. And that's just a hint. Now, if you're asking what these cards do, there's so much.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different things these cards do. So now let's go to the difficulty. So that was the question that was asked, and then we were going to that category.
Yeah.
Now, Chris, I'm pretty sure all our answers are going to be the same with this. Chris, what do you think of the difficulty of this game?
Very difficult. Very difficult.
Britt, difficulty.
Now, are you meaning difficulty as in like we can't win, or are we going back to the question of the 12-year-old playing the complex complexity?
Okay, here's the thing. Can a 12-year-old play this? I haven't played with a lot of 12-year-olds, but they can probably get the basics, I'm assuming. Now, I'm trying to give credit. I'm trying to give credit to 12-year-olds because I don't. Again, we don't have children. We don't hang around a lot of 12-year-olds.
But they can process.
No, see things from the 12-year-olds we know, like your sister. From the 12-year-olds we know, I don't think it's an issue of them understanding it. I think it's an issue of them staying focused enough to play it. So if you have, if you have a 12-year-old that is focused and is into this type of thing, I think they can learn it.
Yeah.
But
So
wait, what's the ages on the box? The ages on the box says 14 plus.
okay, so this is the conversation.
Actually, 14 plus seems like a good number. 14 plus seems like a good number.
So the conversation that was happening in the chat was Pete mentioned that because it's a co-op game, that you can kind of coach someone through it. So if you take them through the game 1 or 2 times, by the 3rd or 4th game, then they're going to have it. And I would 100% agree with that.
I agree. Yeah, that's a good point. Like,
I would 100% agree with that.
If you want to teach your 12-year-old, like play open hand or 2, right?
Yeah.
So you can see what her cards are, and you guys can just talk it out and just tell her, explain, these are how the cards work, and this is how I play with kids. These are what the cards do. You make your decision. I'm not going to tell you what to do. You make your decision. You say what you want to do. And I feel it's best that they learn what works or don't work, right? And I like to work with kids when I play with them, being like, don't worry if it doesn't work. You're going to learn. We're going to fail. Doesn't matter. It makes it better when we win. Just teach this. Let them make their decisions. So next time they're like, oh, I'm not going to do that because I know that was bad if I did it this time, right? Mm-hmm. So I found that was a good way to do it. But as far as difficulty, as in, is this game hard to win? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Maybe Pete made it sound like that's just the rhino. But we're getting
we're doing wrong.
We're getting our asses handed. Like, clearly we're doing something wrong. We need to get our act together.
Maybe we need to. Okay, we play a lot of competitive games. Maybe this is just more of we need to play more co-op games to play together.
Because someone was supposed to heal me a couple times.
Listen, you didn't deserve to be
hold
killed.
on. Here's the thing. See, you know what?
You just said.
I figured it out. Chris figured it out. The problem is Brittany. The problem is Brittany. Because
I am such a team player. I
here's
don't
the
even know
thing.
what you're talking about.
Here's the thing.
You recorded that. Yeah.
Brittany is like, she's a team player until something better comes up. Right? She's like, here's Brittany. Don't worry, Chris. I got you. I'll heal you. Don't worry, Chris. I got you. And then her turn comes and she's like, "Ooh, but I could do this." Sacrifice heal card. Bam! I'm playing Hulk or whatever.
In my defense, I didn't sacrifice the heal card. I kept it. I was going to save it for the next turn. We just died before that. And I played my 8 attack instead.
Right.
So yeah, Brittany will
He
always.
wasn't dying.
Look,
that
Brittany will always opt out of helping somebody for like, this is cool. I'm
I-
just gonna do
I-
this.
Again,
I was only Mr. Aaron, like, nothing. I was fine.
You know what?
Lock it off.
Before we go on, let's give one last example of Brittany. Let's go to, I think it was one of the first games we played.
Yeah.
One of the first games we
Yeah,
played. Now, there was a bunch of threat tokens on one of these
Yeah.
cards. Let's say there was 3. I think there was 3, actually. There's 3 tokens on one of these scheme cards. That was causing us a problem. So we're like, Brittany. Oh, no, I said, Chris, I got that card. I've got it. I'm going to take it. And Brittany's like, no. Don't worry. I got it. You sure, Brittany? And we went back and forth. He was like, you sure, Brittany? You got this? You got this? You got this? And she's like, yes, I got this. I went first. Chris went second. Brittany goes. Hulk brings Hulk's out, flips it. Hulk works like a little lottery machine. Like you flip it over and he damages everybody. So he damaged all the people that she had that could like stop the thing. So her turn went, she's like, your turn. I was like, Brittany, you did nothing. You did
Except
nothing.
for hurt all of us.
You did nothing what you said you were going to do. So
Yeah. So Pete says that if you're not assisting your teammates, you will lose. Way to make me feel bad, Pete.
correct.
But
Pete.
I feel like Jeffrey understands me because he says you are only partly dying, which is true.
So is the game hard?
Yes.
Is that a bad thing?
No.
No. We like difficulty because when we win, we're not like this game is crap. It's more like
Oh, I'm gonna get you.
next time, Rhino. All right.
Next time I'll heal you.
Maybe.
So what do you guys think of the customization aspect of Marvel Championship? Now Brittany can't talk to this because Brittany's never done the customization.
I like the idea of it though.
I did enjoy. We're still in. It's pretty much like 2 groups you're still picking from because it's like out of that 4.
Yeah, you're playing with because when you customize,
Standard.
every character has their standard. I don't know if it's like I'm gonna say 15 cards. I could count them, but I don't want to separate them right now. It's like 12 or 15 cards. Every character has their own set of cards. So when you play Iron Man, you always get these Iron Man cards, and then you choose a card type, which is like aggression or protection or whatever. You choose that, and then you choose basic cards. And you want your deck has to be between 40 and 50 cards.
Yeah.
So me and Chris did that. Yeah. And you got to follow the rules of like you can't have more than 3 of a common card or uncommon card or whatever.
It tells you right on the card, so it doesn't make it very easy to customize because it'll say right on the card 1 per deck.
Yeah.
So it was easy that way.
And it's got the star on it.
Yeah. Being a new person to doing that with those 3 choices, I kind of went all because I got the aggression one that time, and I just went, I'm taking all the aggression cards. Was it a wise choice? It did good, but nah. Also, I played a couple more times. Like
because there are good basic cards.
Play a little bit more, yes.
Because they're good. So you want to get a good balance, right? You don't want to go full out because you don't want your card to go over 50. Because if you have any Magic players out there, also if you dilute your deck with a bunch of cards, then you can't get to the good cards that you want, right?
It's a fine line.
Now I do like the customization.
Yes.
But I like customization where like I can choose protection or a leader. So I can have Peter, and maybe I want Peter to be a leader, or maybe I want him to be protection, right? And I like that. But I don't think there's not much in the way of customization once you have those cards. Because I think once you take the aggression cards, if you take you took them all.
Yep.
Like these pre-made decks, I think it only leaves like 5 or 6 aggression cards or class cards behind. Doesn't take much.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't find there's much in the way of customization. There's like little tweaks you can do.
Yeah,
but
it's not a huge.
It's not a huge amount, but it's not a bad amount either. It's like it's okay. It's okay. Mm-hmm. It's very adequate. So I'm okay with it. But really, with this game, it doesn't break it at all. Yeah. Right? Like I like the starter decks. I like the starter decks, and I like being able to just tweak a little bit. Mm-hmm. Like it's not killing me to be like I can't make like a Magic deck and do whatever I want, right? Like,
see, yeah, you're coming from a Magic deck background. I'm not coming from any. My card games were euchre, so I didn't have that building thing. So for me, it was good because it wasn't too much to make that own personal deck, but at the same time, there was that challenge of, ooh, do I want to go all aggression? Do I want to? So there was that little bit of a challenge, but for someone like me, not having
But the good thing
it was
is
easy.
there's expansions coming out for this, and those expansions will add more cards to that. So I'm guessing that the deck customization will only grow as the game grows with expansions, which is great. So I think there will be. I don't see how it won't be. Right, I'm pretty sure as more cards come out, because a lot of expansions planned for this. We'll talk about when we get to the expansion section. That it'll just improve that way.
Mm-hmm.
All right, anything from our peeps? Okay, so we're gonna
No,
move.
you've touched on all of it.
So how did you feel about the co-op?
I always like co-op because we don't play a lot of co-op. We're usually battling each other.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have that co-op, and then you can see who your real friends are. You know. Just saying.
Is that a jab at me?
No, I'm just saying.
This is why I don't feel it.
I do like the co-op.
Yeah.
I think there's a good amount of co-op in here where there's a lot of I think there's a lot of co-op in like we're discussing like what our tactics are going to be, and although there's the option to help each other and block each other, we've never blocked for each other yet.
Yeah. I never get any allies to black.
No, hold on, that's a lie. I blocked for you last game.
You did? Oh, you did. You did.
I sacrificed my Hulk to keep you alive.
That's true. And Hulk's pretty awesome.
So
I've saved you guys before.
That's never happened.
It's happened at least one time in a game.
That's never happened.
That's not true. That is not. Do not listen to them. They just don't remember. They only hold on to the worst.
Okay, so the co-op. I like the co-op aspect of it. I think there's more to the co-op than we use it for.
Yes.
And I think for as far as co-op, we'd get more out of it if we cherry picked our decks and we were more careful and like you're gonna be the protection person.
Yes.
So
I would agree.
you work on the thwarts.
Make it
and I'll do the damage. Or it can even be like two people doing thwarts and the other person just like works on damage, and you keep the health down, right? Or vice versa. One person works on thwarting, and the other person works on damage. Like maybe that's what we should do, right? Like we got to talk this out. So there's a lot of co-op. I think
Peter, was it
done before.
Strategies? If you got strategies, tell us.
Pete's saying he can feel some tension in our team's dynamic.
There's always tension. There's always tension, Pete.
This is the board game coffee house.
All right. Now, I want to take this one first. The question is, do we feel like the heroes we're playing? So now here's the thing. We did DC Rebirth a few videos ago, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And our feeling was like, I just felt like I was playing a spreadsheet. Like I was playing like my 8 deals damage to the 11 or whatever. Like I feel like I was playing the numbers, right? Because when I go to theme, again, I enjoyed DC Rebirth just fine.
Yeah,
theme for me helps, but it doesn't always break a thing for me.
Yeah.
So, like Superman uses a jetpack in that game. Does he need a jetpack? No. Can he use it? Yes. Why? Who knows? But he does. Maybe he's just want to be a jerk and Batman can't use it. Whatever. But in this game, I think they do a good job of making you feel like you're playing with the heroes and these heroes are on your team and they're on your side. And like, because there's the unique heroes, right? Like when Spider-Man plays Daredevil, well, he's only got that one Daredevil, right? Mm-hmm. When I play Hulk, well, I only have that one Hulk. I don't have many Hulks.
I mean, She-Hulk, when you play She-Hulk, you get Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not necessarily. That's if I play with aggression. Mm-hmm. Hulk is an aggression card. So anybody who plays with aggression gets Hulk.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So, and he's a unique card, so you can only have one, which I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the thing I like the most, and I look at the characters, is I think Iron Man, for me, Iron Man felt the most thematic.
Yeah.
Because when I first played with Iron Man, here's the deal with Iron Man. You play as Tony Stark, and he can draw, like, I don't have him on the table. I think it's like 6 cards.
Yeah.
Tony Stark draws 6. He can hold 6 cards in his hand. But when you flip him over to his Iron Man side, he can only have 1 card. 1 card. And that's brutal because unique cards are cast cards. So that means with 1 card, you can do nothing unless it's a 0. Unless it's a 0 casting card. You can't do anything. So the way Iron Man works is you have to build up your armor, your tech. The more tech you have on the table, which are permanent upgrades that stay on the table, the more cards you can hold. Up to 7, which is more than the max. I think the max that anybody can hold is 6. So what's cool about that is Iron Man is weak, but you flip to Tony, and Tony has, because he can hold all the cards, he can build the armor. So you go back to Tony to build the armor, to put the upgrades in, right?
That's your building
Yeah,
Iron Man.
and then you flip it to Iron Man, and he's better.
Boom.
And that is the most thematic character in this game. I thought that was awesome.
That floored me when you played with him. We're like, how are you supposed to play this character? And all of a sudden you started building up. And
Yeah, because the reason why I was playing, I was like,
That was
oh my God, how am I going to deal with this, right? And we just went into it. And I flipped back to Tony, and I was telling Chris, I was like, oh my God, I got to go back to Tony to work on my armor, so my Iron Man form is better. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That was
So cool.
awesome.
Loved it.
That is one of the best, like, hero card, like, thematic connections.
Never seen anything like that. When I saw that, that was just it was a game changer.
And then also going to theme, you have your obligations, right? Peter's obligation, I don't have it on the table here, but it's something like, it's like, oh, there you go, I do have it. It's an eviction notice. And that's great because thing is, if you read Marvel Comics, the difference between Marvel Comics and DC Comic Heroes, DC Comic Heroes, they're like, and I'm not saying this doesn't exist in Marvel, it does. But on average, on Marvel, you got like your famous reporters, you got your billionaire playboys, you've got a lot of aliens and a lot of rich business owners that are superheroes. In Marvel, there's a lot of people that are struggling. Yeah, Peter Parker, Spider-Man, right? He's like, he was a student, then became a teacher. He's got an aunt who seems to be always sick. She's just in the worst health, but never dies until she does, and then she's back. She gets better. But she, but like they're dealing with, like he's trying to like pay rent, and he's dealing with his life problems. And then you got like just all these, like the mutants. They're nobody likes them. Like they have real world issues. And in this game, they have these cards called obligations. So you have to like exhaust your character, which could really screw you up for a turn, to take care of that obligation. And you get options. And here's Peter's obligations. You can exhaust Peter Parker to remove this card from the game, which is great. It's an easy way to get rid of it if he's not already exhausted, which he probably wouldn't be at this point, actually, because you ready him before you get these. I'm like, oh no, if you defended, you wouldn't.
Yeah.
So you could be exhausted. So that's stuck. But if you can't exhaust him, you discard one card at random from your hand. This card gains Surge, which means you pull another nasty card out. And then you discard this obligation. So it's cool that they worked obligations. Like there's legal obligations for She-Hulk when she's Jennifer Walters because she's a lawyer. Like they worked that into the story. Brittany drew this card that has the Vulture come out, which was her nemesis specifically, because everybody has these nemesis cards that stay off to the side, and they have their own schemes and their own cards. And until you pull a card that says to put your nemesis card in the deck, they don't get involved. So in most cases, I don't think have we had a game where more than two nemesis or one?
Yeah.
I think just one nemesis ever has come in.
I've been lucky that way.
Yeah, because we usually lose by the time we get to a card that says we get both. But so yeah,
We've had 2 games at least.
No, like I'm saying no.
Actually, I think our first
Because the first game
and both
that we played
nemesis?
and this one.
Okay.
So you did and I didn't. Yeah.
All right. So, anyways, the nemesis things are interesting. So that's my point on the themes. I like the thematic system of this. You guys go. I talked.
Well, there was a question about themes. That was one of the first questions. We said we're going to answer that later on.
Brittany's on this.
We already answered it, didn't we?
Probably. Brittany will look at
Answer
We
yours.
said we bring it up.
Chris, let's talk about
That
themes.
was for complexity, wasn't it?
Brit-
Was it themes?
Chris,
If
Britt
you
will
have-
look-
No.
If you asked us a theme question and I didn't capture it, please re-ask the question.
Okay, Chris, go. What do you think of themes?
Awesome. It was the Iron Man. That just floored me. When it was that I was going to say the same thing, and I'm glad you brought it up because that was just, it was a game changer. It just blew my mind when that happened. To me, that was just the best.
Britt?
So I really like the theme as well. I think you can really feel the character's strengths and weaknesses on both sides of the card. If
I
that
don't know
makes
what it
sense.
is,
So when
like-
it's a hero, when it's not a hero, or
Yeah, the fact that they're
Yeah.
right, like they're
You flip back.
they're alter
they're
egos.
balanced.
Yeah.
You have strengths and weaknesses on both. It doesn't matter which side you're on. It just depends on how you're playing.
And it's
the
interesting
cards.
because like if you break it down, these cards all just break down to numbers, right? But for some reason, this Marvel Champions does a good job of being more than the numbers. I see the characters and the situations I'm in before I see the numbers. But that wasn't the same with Rebirth. Rebirth, I saw the numbers.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, actually, when I Black Panther, the first time I played Black Panther, and building up the upgrades, I'm like, just waiting for that Wakanda card. I just want to build it up. I was like, yeah, because it was like, boom, 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 boom.
Even like, at a glance, I'd look at like a mugger, or well, not mugger. What's that a-hole who like always blocks me from the guard? He's got the guard ability.
Yeah.
Sorry, I keep getting this one card. Oh, the Hydra Mercenary, Dink. I keep getting this card, and basically, if you get this card, he's a minion. If he gets in front of you, you can't attack the villain, who is the main guy, Rhino, who you want to attack. You can't attack him until you get rid of the guard. Now, the thing is, when I look at this, I was like, that jerk guard. And the thing is, the fact that I refer to him as that is I don't refer to him as that number. Like, I don't even think of his number. I was like, I look at him, I gotta stop him.
You're right.
I gotta stop him. And I go to attack him. I was like, well, how much is he at all? Like, when I'm playing the DC game, I'm always like,
oh, that's a 6.
it's a 6. You gotta stop the 6. You gotta stop the 6. The
Yeah,
6 is good
I would
walking to the
agree.
thing, right?
I would agree. I also think that the characters' unique cards and abilities. So, for instance, I was playing Peter Parker and Spider-Man, and Spider-Man has these web abilities where you're shooting your web and you're capturing.
Yeah.
I feel that strength. And when, for instance, like Captain Marvel's on the table right now, played her before too. And I could feel her strength when the energy was building and you're putting down these cards and you're just, one card is 3 energy. So you can spread out your cards a lot more to buy more cards. I felt that. Whereas I didn't feel as much energy this game, for instance, if that makes sense, because I was feeling all the power that Spider-Man has. So I love that.
Mm-hmm.
So I do really like the theme.
All right. Now let's move on. The last question in gameplay section that I have here is, and we've covered some of this already, but how does this compare to other superhero-based games that you've played, DC or Marvel?
Ooh, that's a hard one.
With the Marvel one, I kind of like. I know
You're talking about Legendary?
Yes.
Because the thing is with Marvel, there's Legendary, but before Legendary, there was the Versus system, and then there was what was it called? Over something? I played all those. I still have those. I haven't played them in years. Now, Versus system I know came to phone, and I played them all, and I liked them. But they were like a one-on-one Versus thing.
Mm-hmm.
You've only showed me Legendary.
Yeah, Legendary is the other one. And I think this has more in common with Legendary than Versus or Overpower, if I'm remembering the name correctly, because of the co-op aspect and the fact that it is Overpower. Thank you. So, and I have tons of those. I played those games to death, but not for years, right? And but I say this has a lot more to do, more in common with Legendary. Mm-hmm. Although, you know what I do like in Legendary? I do like the row of villains that are coming out.
That's what I was going to say before you rudely interrupted me. That was my whole point there. Yes.
Yeah, I do like that.
I like Legendary has one scheme and many villains.
Yes.
I like that.
This has one main villain and many schemes. It does have minions. It does. Yes. But I found for us, they come out and they either don't last long or they don't come out that often. Mm-hmm. So far, like lucky how we've been. When they come out, we usually
cause enough trouble though.
They do cause enough trouble, but it's more their schemes that cause trouble. So this game is more about schemes causing trouble. So I feel this seems more.
Or like you have this huge power attack and you want to attack the villain. You like finally get it built up. You're ready to go, and all of a sudden, boom! You got a minion in front of you. Like, now I have to get rid of this little thing before I can attack him.
Well, that doesn't work for all minions. Just that one specific one that is annoying.
That's what it was.
The Hydra mercenary.
Yeah, that one.
So, for me, I like this better than Versus and Overpower. But I like those games just fine. But I like it because it's a co-op. So I think I prefer the Marvel co-op games. I love Legendary. And Legendary's got so much to offer. So I think Legendary had more to offer out of the core box than this game does as far as like variety goes. I think Legendary had more. But
there's more complexity here.
I do like.
I feel like this is the next step up.
Yeah, it's got a lot of potential.
you've got different aspects. So I
They're
just want to say,
it's a valid point.
I think.
It's a valid
See, here's the
point.
thing.
They're- they're different.
I think I'd play them both.
I
Right?
would
I wouldn't say one overwrites the other.
No.
Like I like the story more in Legendary for me, even though they're random. It's like Galactus wants to rob a bank,
yeah,
right? And you know, and so some like random heroes.
yeah, we had some interesting ones with Crazy Galaxies versus X-Men versus. We just went all.
The thing is with Legendary, you get into Legendary now. There's tons of expansions to go with, right? With this, it's not even out yet. So
yeah.
I also feel with this game, you feel a lot more pain on a regular basis because in Legendary, you're buying cards and you can play those cards. In this game, you could have all awesome cards and you have to pick 2 or 1 because you actually can't afford to play them.
that's right.
So I feel like there's this, you want to do more and you can't, so there's this constant
Like I think there's enough
itch that
differences.
you want to scratch.
I think
You're not explaining.
There's enough differences between the two that I think both are safe in your library. Like I think you can have both.
Yeah.
One does not overwrite the other.
No.
As far as Go competes, I like this a lot better than Rebirth.
Yes.
The DC Rebirth. The regular DC deck building game or the expansions for it, like the Crisis. For me, I really like the Crisis stuff from DC. So I'd say like I really like those. So when I say like I think for me this and the DC with the Crisis, it's what it makes it co-op, and it's like it's got. I don't know if you remember, it's got like a stack of villains.
Oh,
and you have to defeat the villains one at a time. You have to do all this. Now I really like that. I really like that. So I would put this on level with that for me, and so that's a good thing for me because I really like those. I really like the Crisis stuff, the expansions that make it co-op for DC Deck Builder. I like it better than the regular DC Deck Builder. So for me, that's on par with that, and I really like it. And it's on. Is it on par with Legendary? Oh, maybe. See, I don't know. I'm trying to figure this out. We'll get to the final score. I'm trying to figure this out in my brain.
Okay, so this made me laugh. Pete says, wait until you play Ultron. You will hate the minion drones.
We're having a hard time, Pete. Okay, so that's it for
Let's come together.
Do you have gameplay questions? Because we're moving on to the next section. Okay, we're moving on to the next section. All right, so the gameplay section is our longest section. Now, extra content. Okay, so I made a note. So the thing about this game is, from what I've heard, there's supposed to be extra content released each month for this. At least that was the original plan. I don't know how they can keep up on that, but I think either way, we can hope for a lot of content for this game coming like regularly, like a regular schedule of content. Well, right now you can order there's a Captain America hero pack that you can pre-order. And there's I don't know what the pack's called. It's an expansion, but it's a scenario pack. And it's got different scenarios, but it's got Green Goblin on it. I don't know what it's called. I can't remember. But so there's those two. So they're going to have scenario packs and hero packs. So you'll have more heroes to play with and more scenarios to play against, which is cool.
Yeah.
Pete was saying that every month there's something planned for the next year or so.
Yeah.
So that's really
And
cool.
that's what I've heard.
Into that.
But since the game's not out, I don't know. But right now there's those 2 pre-orders available. So right now they're ahead of the game.
So Green Goblin, the Cap, then Campaign Pack,
Oh.
then Wrecking Crew for the next 4 months.
Ooh, Wrecking Crew. You guys don't know Wrecking Crew. Wrecking Crew is cool. I want you got just the Wrecker. Anyways, they have all kinds
That
of
makes
cool.
sense.
Yeah, well, they're cool. I like the Wrecking Crew. Anyways, so there's going to be that, and I think that's cool because this game I've already pre-ordered. Just so you know, I've already pre-ordered the 2 expansions that are available for pre-order. So that tells you something that I want to play more. So I've already pre-ordered those. As soon as we played our first game, me and Chris sat down. Chris was setting up. He's making his deck, and I was like, "Hold on, Chris, I'm pre-ordering the expansions." I was like, "And done. Let's go." So
Let's do this.
So I knew I wanted that much already. Okay.
Quick question for you.
Okay, go ahead.
Have you played Sentinels of the Multiverse?
I have not played Sentinels
Okay.
in the Multiverse.
I didn't think so, but that was one of the questions in the discussion box.
No, I have not. I've heard a lot of good things about Sentinels. Do you like Sentinels?
They haven't played either.
Oh.
They want to know our opinion.
No, I haven't played. I've heard a lot of good things about Sentinels in the Multiverse, though. Okay, so now What expansion packs would you like to see? You can't say Captain America because he's coming out.
Oh, that's a hard one. And Thor's coming out as well.
No. I'm going to jump in there. I want to see some Guardians of the Galaxy.
I
You know why I want to see that? Because the Guardians of the Galaxy expansion, we haven't played the expansion for Legendary Order, but we played, that was last week we played.
That was hilarious. We were mixing everything.
Yeah, and I liked it. I like the
Yeah,
Guardians
it was a
expansion.
lot of fun.
So I want to see the Guardians expansion for Marvel Champions. I think that'd be cool. Oh! You can have that. I'm going to give that one back to
You
Chris.
know? Okay, good.
Zombies. Marvel Zombies. You guys don't know. I read comics. I'm going through. They watch comic movies, they play comic games, and they like them.
Yeah.
But I read the comics. So Marvel Zombies. Marvel Zombies is awesome. Just trust me. Marvel Zombies is awesome. I want to see Marvel Zombies. I guess that would probably be, I don't know what that would be. Would that wipe out? Would you play as the zombies? Or would that be, because they're bad, but they're all, I don't know, but they're all zombies. I don't know. I'm good either way. I'm good either way. If the zombies are either the people you're playing or people you're playing against, I actually rather play as them. And then you're playing against the heroes. Do that!
Complete reverse.
Okay.
One of the questions was, what about player mats? I don't know.
Oh, there's a player mat.
There is a player
There
mat.
is a player mat.
Okay.
There's a player mat. We do not have the player mat. If Asmodee wants to send us a player mat, we will accept it. But we do not have a player mat.
They have a 4-player mat and 1 single player mat for each of the 5 characters in the core.
Yep, I've seen it. I've seen them. They're great. We don't have them. But like I said, we will accept them. Wink. Okay.
We love mats.
We love mats. We got a giant
We have
mat
a
here.
giant one here.
It's off camera, but it's here.
Because today is not that game.
No. All right. So what is your? I took 2. I can give you Guardians. You want to see Guardians?
I want Guardians. That's
Keep right-
going ahead.
What do you want to see?
I've gone blank now. I'm not sure.
X-Men.
Ooh, that would be a good one.
The X-Men. That's Brittany. That was all Brittany.
Way to go, Rick.
I've been waiting all day to tell you.
Okay. So
See, that was good co-op. We're starting.
we're
Let's start.
So what do you guys think of the replayability of this?
I think there's a lot.
We've been replaying it.
It's
See,
a repeated nightmare.
I
over and
find
over
here's the
again.
thing. There's a lot of replayability in this game, and there is, because you can play I'll play a different hero, and they play totally different, and we can mix and match cards, which is great. I think and the challenges you go up against are different, right? I assume, because we haven't passed the first one, and we will not move on to the second one until we pass this. And we've failed this more times than I'd like to say, but we keep going, so that says something.
Yeah.
So I think replayability is high.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd like to see what would happen after this to really get an understanding of the replayability, because we're kind of stuck in a rut right now.
But what I'd like to see is I'd like to see more heroes. I want to see more heroes. I want to see more heroes. I want to see more cards, more card combinations.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the
I think
thing.
you have to.
I don't notice, compared to some other card games, I don't notice as many combos. Like when I'm playing Legendary, when you play or any deck builder,
Yeah, you get the
DC or
combos.
Legendary, you're like this card and this card work together, and they trigger this card and this card and this card, and then I play this card which doubles all that, which then I copy that card which doubles that, so it doubles it again.
I love that.
You do not get that in this game.
No.
Because you're already using the cards to pay for that one card.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you're already exhausting
Only
the
get to
cards.
play
just
one.
to
So
do the
you're
cards.
playing less cards in this game than you would a deck builder, because you got to
Playing what you're
sacrifice.
using just as much, if not more.
Because you're sacrificing. But the thing is, you get more permanent cards in this game, right? Like in Legendary, a lot of the games or a lot of those games,
Like
you
the
play them,
sports and
they're
upgrades.
one and done.
Yeah.
They're one and done. But here you build up your character, so you get upgrades, you get support cards, so that's different. It's a different game.
Yes.
So you don't get the crazy combos. But again, I'm not going to knock that for not getting the crazy combos. Although I do like that. So I'd say, that was the our 10-pound weight fell.
Oh.
Enjoy
Sorry, guys, for the jolt.
that.
Making
Anyways.
sure you're still awake.
So I wouldn't knock this. I wouldn't knock the game for not having it. I would say it makes the two games different, and I'm okay because that makes it. I have two different games I can play, which is fine. This is a different game, different rules. I'm not forcing it to be on here. I do like that, but I don't necessarily hate not having it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. So replayability. Britt, did you answer the replayability question?
I said yes.
All right. She said yes. Okay. Now, did you guys read the notes?
I did not.
Okay, good. No, that's good. It's
Why?
good.
He'll never know. Yeah, oh, yeah.
He always knows.
All right, here's the thing. So now, price point. We're gonna do price point for this game in Canada. In Canada, so we're looking at Board Game Bliss, and I always has to toss 401 because that's where. And when I was in Toronto, I've been going there since I've been playing Magic, and I keep going there when I visit my family because I was going there since my teens. So I'm just or my early 20s, whatever that was. So I'm loyal to that store. But anyways, Board Game Bliss, which is these are Canadian prices. What would you say? Their Board Game Bliss and 401 are the same, by the way. Their prices have started to match.
I feel like it might be a $40 or $50 game.
Chris,
I can't guess ages, let alone the price of a box. You're kissing me.
how much would you say this game?
I'm gonna say a little. It's just cards, no minis. Yeah, we'll go with a 50 mark.
50. Okay.
This is Canadian dollars.
Canadian dollar.
Oh,
So
$150.
$100.
go 60. Well, I go 60.
So, price for a Board Game Bliss for Canada is $67.99. Now, for me, yeah, I thought that was a little pricey
It's a little pricey.
for how much content you get in here. Now, there's a lot of game in here. There's a good amount of game in here, but the amount of content, $67.99 seems a little steep.
Yeah.
And I'm like, argh. But I would buy it because of Marvel, and I like deck games. I like Marvel, so they've got things. It's a good game. It's got the deck thing. It's got the theme. But am I being suckered because I'm like a comic book fan? Like I don't.
It's $59.99 US.
Spoiler.
Oh,
Actually, I have a Cool Stuff Inc. is $50.99. 5099 on Cool Stuff Inc.
Okay. I was like, that's what he just said.
No, 50, not $59.99, $50.99.
Okay.
But 15. So here's the thing.
So people are saying it's a bit steep.
So $50.99.
Well, especially when we're getting games with all these.
But here's the thing. I want to give this $50.99 in Canadian is $66.95. This is the first game that we've covered that the American price is actually cheaper by like $1.04. It's cheaper than the Canadian price. Every game we've done, it's always been way cheaper to get it here. But now it's slightly cheaper to get it in the States.
It's throwing us for a loop because we do not expect that.
Yeah. So I'd
Even
say
with the exchange?
yeah, that's the exchange. It's $66.95 with the exchange.
Okay.
$50.99
I
is
understand,
yeah. So $50.99 for Americans, $67.99 for Canadians. I think the price is a little steep.
I do too.
I think it's a little steep. Now, if this was again, I keep going back to Legendary. Legendary had a lot of cards in it.
But they also had a board. They had they had a ton of things.
There was a lot of stuff in the box. If you saw the insert of this box, the box is pretty empty.
Yeah.
So if you were to wrap it up in if you think about this, if you take this box and you cut it for if you cut it to the size it needs to be to fit what's in here now, not taking into account the expansions that are going to fill this box, it would be like a quarter of this is all you would need.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, and that's the thing. If this was a quarter of the size on the shelf, think of that. Would you pay $67.99? Right?
Well, it depends how much you're going to play the game, right? Because if we're talking about the cost of the components, that's a different question than will I get value out of the
It's true.
679? And if
And that's
the
the-
answer is yes,
And you might.
and you have the group that will play this game all the time, then the price is fine.
And you are right. You might.
For people like us who are constantly buying games, it's a little steep for how much we're going to play it.
Yep.
Mind you, we'll probably travel with this game.
Mind you, this
because
game was
we
sent to us
can-
by Asmodee. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank
Really
you very
appreciate it.
much.
So yeah, and I agree. Yeah, it is. What does that mean to you, right? Like price point. Like we can't really necessarily take that. We can and cannot take that into account for our final score because price point means different things for different people.
Yeah.
If this is the one game you're going to buy, Are you going to get a lot of play out of this?
Yes.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah.
You could get a lot of play out of this, very much.
Mhm.
So it might be worth the 67 for you, right?
And what are the expansion costs?
Yeah. Well,
Oh.
expansions. I have those. Expansions cost for the hero packs in Canadian dollars. For the hero packs, it's like $13. For the scenario packs, sorry, this is American prices. Hero packs in American prices, $13. Scenario packs, $17.
Okay.
Not bad. Expansion
That's
prices
not
are okay. Canadian is 16 and 23. A little more. That's pretty much covers the exchange.
Yeah.
So the expansions aren't necessarily
You're
bad.
reasonable.
I don't. But mind
You're getting
you,
a lot more.
I say
some
I
games
say
are
reasonable,
more expensive for
but
the
I don't
expansions.
know. But I don't know what we're getting in those yet.
Mhm.
I don't know how many cards you're going to get in the Captain America character pack or the scenario pack. I don't know.
Are you getting more aggression?
So,
I would assume there's still going to be a good.
And here's the thing with me, I look at this and I say 67.99. Oh, that's steep. But you
It's
know what?
steep.
It's a Marvel Champions game. I'm gonna buy it anyways
I know.
Yeah.
because.
But I don't
I'm-
want to say that out loud because I don't let the prices keep going up.
But it's the thing. It's so again. That's a personal thing. So I'd like
We're Marvel fans.
so when we're
And they haven't let us down.
but there's also financial situations you're in, right? Different people have different financial
Yeah.
situations. If you're tight for cash, maybe this isn't a game for you.
No.
There's other games that can get you, just as much gameplay for less.
Mhm.
But if you're okay and you want to build something in your collection, I don't think you'll be disappointed necessarily. So you kind of got to take that into account. Take that into account for yourself. But when we do our final score, I think we kind of,
Yeah.
keep it in the back of your mind, but
Mhm.
take it in.
Mhm.
But don't dwell on that too much if that's a negative thing for you, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so Pete mentioned that King will have leadership aspect in a fully playable deck with a few cards for every aspect to add to the pool, plus a few generic cards for the generic pool. So that's a fair amount.
I
The
don't
deck
think,
is playable right out of the pack.
yeah, because I don't mind going there and paying like $17, $20
Yeah.
and getting an expansion for this. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, so that's a really good point, Jeffrey. Jeffrey said Marvel Champions equals a AAA video game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a price point. So this is a 2 thing. There's 2 questions, but we're gonna do this at once. Grab your boards. We're gonna give it our final score. Now I'm gonna explain our scoring system. So the question is, did you enjoy this game and how would you score it? Don't explain that now. Score
These
it
aren't
first.
permanent, right?
These are not
We
permanent
took all the
markers.
permanents away. Okay.
If you guys are watching, I've written permanent before. So we're scoring out of 5. Now I did have a tough.
I'm struggling.
I
with this one.
struggle with this one. Now let me break down, and maybe this will change your answers because I know we've discussed. But maybe saying it out loud. Here's the scoring system we've worked with so far on Board Game Coffee. I'm going to explain our score. It's out of 5. Now, here's how I've explained it to people. There's more to this, but this breaks it down pretty simple. 1 is the worst. 1 is a game that's garbage. I don't want to play this. I don't ever want to see it again. The rules are horrible. The gameplay's boring. Blah. I don't want it. We've played ones. We've never reviewed a 1 because 1s usually aren't even worth our time. So, 2, we don't like the game, but and when I say we is it's all individual for us, right? 2 is we don't like the game, but we see how other people would like the game. So maybe it's for you, but it's not for us. 3, we enjoy playing the game, but we feel no need to buy it or to own it. If you bring it out, we will play it. That's a 3. 4, it's a great game, and I want it in my own personal collection. That's a 4.
To add on to that though is if you like games
Oh, yeah.
like this.
Our review system is based on
If you like deck builder games or that
Yeah.
type of game, then a 4 would be yes, you'd probably want to do your
so we're talking about
just to be clear.
this type of game, right? Because if you're a person that just likes abstract puzzly games, then our 4 would mean nothing to you if you don't like card games, right? And 5 is this game is awesome. Everybody needs to have this in their collection. Okay. So yeah, 4 is we like this. And when I say everybody, I mean everybody who likes this type of game needs to have this in their collection. Again, clearly, if card games and co-op games aren't your thing, then you should not have this. But if you like this type of game, then you should have it in your collection.
Mhm.
I'm torn, man.
I am.
I'm torn. I don't
Did
even.
you say 5? Did you
Out of
say
5.
Okay.
That was 5.
Okay.
Awesome. 5 is awesome. You need to have this in your collection.
Everyone needs it.
Everyone who likes like these type of games needs to have this in their collection.
I'm torn. That's how I came up with my number because of that.
I'm so torn. This is difficult.
This is a difficult one.
Okay.
It's like at
You
every
need to
turn,
go.
this game just keeps kicking our butts. So, by the way, so even now, scoring it, it's still kicking our butts going.
I don't know.
And yet,
I don't know.
that isn't a factor for me. Like, I wouldn't.
No, hold on. You're saying he's not saying it's negative.
No.
No, I'm saying like that keeps happening, and yet that it's not like, oh, this game is too hard, never want to play again.
Right, yeah.
It's like, bring it on. Like, I'm enjoying it. Where
Yeah.
some games I'm like, this is dumb. I don't want to continue to play. Like, this
It's
is
gonna make us a better team, guys.
yeah.
We can do this.
One no.
Ah.
Yeah. Okay. So 5 more seconds. So
Okay.
5, 4,
Okay, I'm just gonna stick. I'm sticking with what I got, and I'll explain it.
1. Oh, I get to write mine.
You're failing. Don't let Chrissy speaking.
Go Pete.
I was looking. I was too busy laughing.
Keep your eyes on your own board.
Okay, Chris. Chris, go.
Why me first?
Because you're always first.
Oh,
Yours first.
It's my so
Out of 5, what are you giving this?
So now I was torn between my 2 scores because of the game style. Because I'm still new to the card building, card deck type things. Love Legendary, love that aspect. One of my more favorite games. I'm going with a 4 on this because I believe I'm torn because of the fact for me this isn't necessarily a game that I own because of the cards. But if I was a person that loved card games, you should have it. So that's why I'm torn between the 4 and 5. That's why I'm with 4 because not for me, but for other people that enjoy card games, I think you got to have this. That deck building.
So now, how did the price point affect it? Like I know I said the price point.
price
Keep that in the
point-
back of your head, but don't make
Yes.
that like the main.
I know I was torn on that because again, I'm sorry, I missed you said that with a AAA game. Absolutely. That's where Brittany kind of broke me into games is when you're buying a game, look at the replayability and how much fun you're going to have with it.
Mhm.
Because my first game was Gaia Project.
Mhm.
That was a very big game and a very big challenge. But we played it so many times, it was well worth the money.
Mhm.
And I think with this one, you're going to get that back. And especially the expansions, it didn't seem too bad. The expansion costs, that was manageable. So I would say if you like deck building, you like a challenge, this is a really cool game.
I'm hurting. I'm hurting, man. I'm hurting.
So just as an FYI, throughout this whole conversation, Jeffrey keeps saying, Mark Sneaky Smile. I'm worried. And now it's Mark Sneaky Smile is back. I worry.
All right.
I'm
Yes,
so
and you
used to
should.
it.
Yes. Well, I kept looking at him like, what is he going to say? Because I'm talking, you got
Britt.
that smirk. I'm like, what is going on over there?
Britt,
Because he's struggling in his own
I am
mind. He's
struggling.
fighting his own
I'm
thoughts. That's
struggling.
what that is.
I'm sure.
That's what the Joker looks like too. Just so you know. The struggle. Something bad's going to happen.
Britt.
Okay. I am a 4 on this one. And I'm torn because I think for people who love Marvel, who love deck builders, who love a challenge, I think it's actually a 5 for them.
Mhm.
However, I think the price will be a barrier for some people. And I think some people will either love this game or not like it because they prefer maybe Legendary over it, depending on your style of play.
Mhm.
So it was hard for me, but I'm going with a 4 just because of some of the barriers that might be there.
So do you like this game?
Yes.
Do you like this game?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, is it a 1?
I'm struggling. Struggling.
That's what's happening.
It's I know it's not a 1.
I'm also giving it a 4.
Yeah.
Now here's where I'm struggling. I'm struggling between a 4 and a 5.
Yeah, I think we all are.
Now, so that's gonna tell you something, right?
Yeah.
Like we're all giving it 4s, but we're like, it's so close to a 5. It's so close to a 5. You know, little aspects that can make this a 5. If this game was like $45, 5.
5.
instantly. If it's $45, make it a 5, no questions.
Yeah.
The expandability of it, excellent. I enjoy playing this. I do. We've lost every time, but that's okay. I like losing to this game.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. It's a great challenge, and I want to keep playing it. The variety seems a little shy of like a hero or a scenario or two.
Mm-hmm.
If for the price value.
Yes.
It's
I agree. Yeah.
It's so it's just there. But 4, just so you know, 5s, not a lot of games get 5s in our channels.
That's
so
true.
4 is a high rating for us.
That's very true.
So the fact that we're all close on a 5 says a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Because we are really enjoying this game.
Yeah.
We're playing. We like beating. We like the co-op.
Nice. Like I
We
love the colors. I love
like
the
the art.
art.
I like the
love
theme.
The theme.
the
that
theme
Iron
is
Man
great.
thing,
Like
I
there's
just
so
can't
many
get over
great
that.
things about
So
it.
it's so
But we have to look at everything,
Yeah,
and
but
that's where our numbers come in.
It's for me. It's just like I could have written this out, scribbled this out.
I
Written a
was
5.
actually gonna write a 4.5 just to throw it a loop. I was
thinking the same thing. I was like, I need to start
But then like Mark would be like,
using,
no, you
using
can't do
fractions. I would have like jumped across the table.
that. See?
That's not the deal. We gotta commit. It was so that's it. So 4 is across the board. That's a great score. Just so you know, like games that we've given 5s to in the past.
That's actually a question that just come up. Do you guys have a deck builder that you would score a 5?
Legendary. I scored a 5.
Is a 5 for
Legendary, I
us.
scored a 5. Now, I scored Legendary 5 because I got Legendary at a great price. I actually got it at a convention, and for some reason, I don't know why they made this deal. I got Legendary and DC deck building at the same time for $60 Canadian for both. Wow. And there's tons of content in it. But it also came at a time where I was just getting into board games when Legendary came, right? So my experience was when I got that, I was blown away. I was like, awesome.
That was the first one you showed me.
Yeah, it's
we played all night long. It was ridiculous. We were making combinations all over the place all night long. It was awesome.
And it's good, but a lot of that game for the price was low for me, and the variety because there was so many. So the difference between those two is like that's what is keeping this for me for giving it a 5.
Mm-hmm.
Is those things. So it's so close. It's so good. So question is, do you think? Like I think if you're like I saw
out of 5.
We've given a few.
Card games those specifically.
Not deck. It's a
deck building games.
Deck builder.
Specifically deck building. I think we haven't rated.
What Clank?
I don't know what we gave Clank.
I can't remember now.
Clank might be a 5.
But Clank might be a 5.
Clank, if Clank's not a 5, it's like it's up.
It's a in between a 4. And a 5
yeah, it's Clank. We love Clank.
We love Clank. Yeah.
Clank is great. So Clank is great. Legendary is great. As far as
Clank would be a good one if you're playing with a 12-year-old.
Actually, the DC deck building game with some of the Final Crisis expansions, the co-op, I really enjoy those.
Mm-hmm.
So I might give that a 5 as well because I really enjoy them because they're so freaking hard. But they do a good job of being like hard on the cusp. Was like I just made it. I just got it.
Mm-hmm.
Like those are good. Rebirth, Rebirth's like DC Rebirth it's okay. But yeah, if you like Marvel games though, like if you like Marvel card games, if you like the Marvel universe, if you like card games,
you will like this.
You won't be disappointed with this.
Yeah.
So again,
it will be money well spent.
It's so close. It's just those little things that would make it take it from a 4 to a 5. It's like, so close.
Mm.
So I guess that's it. That's our review. Any questions?
Yeah. Well, there was comment. So big thank you to Pete because Pete actually brought it to our attention that we would absolutely love this game. And a big thank you to Asmodee for actually sending us this game. And
yeah, and just so you know, Asmodee, we've been loving this.
Yeah. And we're gonna play all night.
Yeah. Yeah, after we're done, we're playing this.
We will win.
We will beat Rhino and the Claw and then Ultron.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a little trust exercise first and get our teamwork built up, and then we're gonna do this again.
Mm-hmm. So it was funny in the conversation because Pete was like, "I knew you would like it," and then Jeffrey mentioned, "Did you recommend this to them, Pete?" And Pete says, "I did." And then Jeffrey said, "Oh, so you're the one to blame for all of the outcomes." You are the one to blame for the misery and the pain that you've inflicted into our lives,
But-
and also the joy.
So yeah, so that's our score. So 4 across the board. This is our first like live reviews. First time we've given numbers to something. We've done our comparisons. Those are fun. Which one we like best? But yeah, this is our first review. And again, if you like these reviews, like this live reviews, let us know.
Let us
we'll
know,
do
yeah.
more of them. And subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Just click that. That's great. And I think that's it. Oh, you know, one thing I wanted to mention about learning curve and ease of use, which I didn't mention, is these little reference cards. Blue side for the heroes, red side for the villains. These are really useful. Like once you learn how to play the game,
I always like
I just look at these and I was like, oh, I know what I'm doing. Oh, I know what I'm doing. Like I just follow this. I just follow this in order. I know what I'm doing. It's got the same. If you guys have played Spirit Island, where Spirit Island has the reference right on the board.
Speaking of challenging games,
Mind you, we've beat that every time.
Which one?
yes, we always think we're gonna lose in the last minute. Like,
Spirit Island. Brady always falls asleep. We haven't
yeah,
played
sure.
Spirit Island. Anyway, okay, so that is it.
And it's a co-op, and she's gone, and we win.
Yeah,
Just saying.
I'm just saying. So we'll probably lose until Brittany goes to bed.
You know what?
And
They're just,
then me and Crystal will win.
they want me to play more co-ops because they kick your butt when we play competitive.
Not Terraforming Mars.
Listen,
Sounds
one
good.
day I will beat you.
Okay, that is all.
Okay.
We should sign off.
That's
I'll
it.
sign off. All right, thanks
Thanks.
guys
Thank
for
you so
joining
much.
us.
We've had fun. We've enjoyed spending time with you.
Oh yes, we have very much. Oh, and
Cheers.
cheers.
Now we can do